Hello, welcome back to From Soft Serve. Today we're in, initially, unmodded Dark Souls Remastered because I want to show what you can expect in the 1.09 version of Dark Souls Remastered mod that I have released yesterday. So I just want to show you a few things that I think a lot of people don't notice. So this is actually right before the Taurus Demon, and you'll notice quite a few things are wrong here. So you'll notice there's a mesh seam kind of right here and then right here, and it has to do with the light map, it seems, in terms of like how it's responding to the illumination from that. It's kind of crazy how it just cuts off like this. You also see some UV mapping issue like right here, where normally it would be kind of straight across, but you'll see it goes whoop. And so you got some warping there. You also see UV mapping issues on the back of these bricks. You also see that the character just goes straight through the bricks, and except for these back here. And so they just walk right through them. And so I removed these bricks. I fixed that UV mapping issue. I replaced this texture down here, this little floor texture here, because it was very out of place. It was only used like here and here, and it's used as a wall texture, not a floor texture. So I replaced it with a floor block 3 texture that gets used in Undead a lot. But let's go to the real issue in this episode, because yeah, you'll see it gets used like here. So I ended up fixing that just by giving it a standard floor texture that Undead uses all the time. Down here actually looks fine. Undead has the most issues of any. Okay, well, I didn't actually mean to backstab him, but all right, let's go this way. All right, it's a room that is the worst. It's probably the most fucked up room in the entire game, I think, as far as texture issues and just being generally fucky looking. All right, bitch ass. Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Okay, that was a bitch slap. All right, get out of my way. All right, so it's actually down here. And now you'll see, of course, the little mesh hole that's here, since we're in unmodded Dark Souls 1. That, of course, is fixed in my mod. And let's see. So yes, this is open. Let's close the door. And we will see just so many issues. So you're going to see initially this little kind of, I'm not sure, trim. The trim portion you can see is very uneven. And then you can see it's also uneven here. You can then see the floor itself is uneven. There's this weird seam here, and then it gets up higher, and yet the character kind of floats a little bit, so that doesn't make any sense. And then there's this random other texture that is sort of just kind of sitting in here when it doesn't need to. And then you can walk through most of these boards. It's basically just a really, really bad texture area for Dark Souls 1. I'm not sure why certain areas look good, certain areas look really fucking bad. So then you'll see up here, horrible texture warping. And then even out here, I can't remember if I fixed the one out here, the little edge, but let's go into regular Dark Souls Remastered, or I should say the upgraded version of Dark Souls 1. So let's log out and I'll be right back. All right, we're back. Yeah, it looks like I had fixed the issue out here. So of course you can immediately notice the higher resolution textures. But when we walk in here, I retextured the walls to use an actual different wall texture. It's actually the one that's used in the bonfire room. And then I fixed how it was uneven. I got rid of the trim at the bottom because the parallax occlusion mapping was actually kind of fucking up with it, and it just didn't really look that good. And then of course we're using the floor texture. Oh, I think I may still have a bit of an issue over here. Yeah, you'll see how it doesn't match up in this little corner. So I need to check out the UV mapping on that. But yeah, you'll see the texture warble is gone, and you kind of just have a normal looking textured room. No longer strewn about with shit everywhere. And it was just one of the worst examples, I think, of, and then I even evened out the floor as well. And so that's kind of the stuff you can expect from Dark Souls Remastered going forward. 1.09 I put out yesterday, and I included a ton of mesh fixes in this area. There's so many, because if we go in here, there's another area. Oh shit, I never noticed this. Wait, has this always been like this? No fucking way. Oh my god, well, okay, I gotta fix that foliage. Oof. Yeah, that looks bad. Actually, yeah, what if we pull that up and fix it right now? Wouldn't that be cool? And then I altered this wall to push it out a bit, because it was actually, there was a mesh hole that was right here and you could actually see through it. There's so many texture issues in Dark Souls 1. And then I actually retextured these archways to match like the other archways. Before they were like this really weird green texture that didn't make a lot of sense. But yeah, look at this. We got this little flap hanging out here, which it looks like they actually did do collision on it, which is kind of strange. I mean, I think it's close enough that no one's gonna, like, I think you can get close enough. Technically, I could alter the collision to make it to where the character could run a little bit closer to the wall, but I don't think that's a huge concern. It's pretty close. Yeah, what if we fix that? So let's open up Undead Burg in our project, because I need to know which map piece to pull up in Blender, because Grim, who makes the Blender, or the Soulstruct modding tool, and then there's a Soulstruct plugin or tool for Blender specifically. So let's fly through our Undead Burg map, fly to this room, and yes, it looks like the flap is right here. It's 2140, you'll see up here. Yeah, so we need to clear this little flap because it looks pretty fucking bad. All right, so let's get 21. Oh, interesting. Yeah, 2140. 2140 should be it. I believe we already have Blender open. And I was working on the Taurus Demon Bridge. There were more bricks that had no ass on them. They were missing a whole side to their mesh, so I fixed more of those. Let's not save that. Let's get rid of our cube, which is ridiculous. Let's open up let's pick our Fiverr model that we would like to open. We are in folder M10 _ 010000, because that is Undead Burg, and we need 2140. So usually, of course, I just search for 2140. Looks like I did modify it yesterday, which of course I did. I just didn't notice the flap issue. So here we have our mesh. I will turn texturing on, and it has now textured it. And yeah, you can very clearly see there's the flap that looks terrible. So we're going to go into edit mode here. Wow, let's go into faces, and then we can generally see if I select the whole thing. Oh, actually that might work. I might just delete the whole little flap there. Oh my god. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Separate little ones. Because I think if I... Yeah, okay, so I can just hit L on these separate little ones. Switch over to this view. Be a little bit easier. Anytime I do anything in Blender, I always assume there's going to be someone in the comments that says, oh my god, it's like 10 times easier if you do this. Because there's just never not 5,000 different ways to do something in Blender. I've slowly gotten little tips here and there of like, oh, okay, I'll do this for this now. So I've gotten better, but I also understand. Oh, shit. I think we just noticed there's a little mesh hole ski. Okay, I ended up making a little cut there because I had to do more edits, and I was like, well, I don't really want to talk through that. So I ended up kind of merging some vertices, fixed this texture to match the texture near here. So we got the leaves out of the way, we closed the mesh hole, and now we export our Fiverr into our model folder. Fingers crossed. Booyah. There we go. Chucks it right in the folder, saves an older version. I think that looks pretty good. I think it's kind of a diagonal-ish line. I'll still have to look at that. I don't know. That's not... No, I guess that's just an edge. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, the texture, I need to edit the actual, like, scale of it. I think it looks good up until the little portion that I made. And you can see that the texture is scaling wrong. So I'll fix that. But that's not a huge problem. But yeah, other than that, boom, done. We will fix that. I believe I also have fixed... let me log out of this character and log on to a character that has rung both bells so Frank shows up. Because... I believe I have fixed one of the longest standing issues in my mod, which is Frank's little kiddie pool that he's in. Water stays there, basically no matter what. And I believe I fixed that in the last patch by editing the entity ID and linking it to also the openable little stone things that he comes through. And so now you'll see there is no water here. And then I checked on another save where Framped isn't up yet, and there is water. So theoretically, I believe that's fixed. But yeah, so I've been going through and just fixing a shitload of mesh issues. Because also this is one, for the homies that have been watching my videos for a long time, you'll know that in the unmodded Dark Souls 1, there is a mesh seam right here, and you can actually still notice it. How the texture doesn't actually perfectly match up. But I did go into Blender and actually move the two map pieces just so that now you don't see through the world. And so it's a lot less noticeable. And yeah, basically I'm going through the whole world and doing that. Let me show you one more thing that I fixed and will continue fixing for the rest of my life. Because there's a lot of these issues in Dark Souls 1. Some areas are perfectly fine looking, and then some are just absolutely kind of like fucked. The painted world is on my list. I need to fix that. There's so many ground texture issues. Jumping off ahead. Hey, stop putting messages in front of fucking levers, you know? It's not cool, guys. I also need to take a look at this one floor texture because it just has like weird portions that are super blurry. But I think that's actually built into the texture itself. I'm going to look at that because it's been kind of like a long-standing thing I've noticed. And I'm like, man, that just kind of looks like ass, you know? So let's go down to New Londo because New Londo had this weird issue. And this is what FromSoft used decently often in this game to cover up mesh seams in between different map pieces, right? And the big issue they had, let's hop down here, is they would use this weird in-between texture to like glue things together. So I'll probably show it from my Twitter feed because it's a lot easier that way. But in here you can see we have nice stairs and it's actually in the in-between portions right here is where they had this glue texture. So let's log out and I will go on my Twitter feed real quick. If I had my Google Chrome open, which I do not, Twitter, apparently X, who would have known? We will now see memes and different things. Yeah, here's one. This is actually UV mapping that exists in the base game. It's basically a distant map piece in Undead Burg. And so yeah, fix the UV mapping there, easy peasy. Also getting domed by by baddies in Dark Souls games, pretty great. Yeah, so here's the room before and after, and I made a couple more tweaks. Yeah, so this is the good example. This is what it looks like in the unmodded game. Not actually the 100%, but this is still Dark Souls Remastered. But this little portion that they would put in between the the wall and the floor and the stairs, they used like this just weird fucking texture. So yeah, of course, I went in, I removed that because it just, I don't, like, they had other ways of doing grime. They had like transparent textures they would use, and that's just not what these are. These are just like an actual, like they pasted it on. And I just don't think it looks good at all. And so, like, I still think it looks unclean as it's supposed to, but now you actually have the full stairs without having that weird kind of fucking thing cover it. So that's another comparison of the room. And that's kind of a before and after there. Let's see if I have anything else. Yes, so this was there were mesh holes right here and then on the other side. And I fixed those. Those are in the last patch I just posted. Then Undead Burg, you'll notice going into Undead Parish, these stairs were actually floating, as was the whole building slightly. So I fixed those as well. And this was a fun one. So this is right next to those stairs and entrance to Undead Parish. You'll notice in this doorway that goes off towards another part of Undead Burg, and then you can take a left and go towards Andre. And there was this little texture that was used here. And I was like, man, that just looks fucking terrible. I hadn't noticed that. So of course I went in and I fixed that. And now you have the cobble texture continue and not be stopped by a weird gap texture that didn't really make any sense. So that's been fixed. You'll also see here, they were using this weird texture in between, once again, gluing them together in this strange way. And so, of course, I removed them, and then I manually went in and I fixed there were very small mesh holes, like little seams. And I'm assuming that's why they used it. It was quicker to just paste over them. But anyway, I went in, and then I just modified the mesh slightly to fix those. And so now you get better looking. And I think most people, gun to their head would be like, I never noticed that, because I never noticed that for so long. Also in the last update that was yesterday, there was a big update to Blender Soulstruck that allowed me to modify way more map pieces without messing up the parallax occlusion mapping, and that's what I was waiting on. So that got fixed, and so now in the bonfire room where the sunlight altar, this bonfire room now has parallax occlusion mapping on the stones, which I think looks fucking awesome. And let's see. Which one did I fix here? Looks like I missed one. This is before I removed those. Yeah, this one had a piece of geo. Yeah, this one had a piece of geo sticking through it. And so this here, yeah, it's hard to notice. I think that's why no one noticed. So this little thing that just randomly was jutting out in this hallway, yeah, I went in and I basically just shifted that to the right, and then now you have a nice clear hallway, and the ambient occlusion easily hits the little crevices, and yeah, that was just an issue. And then of course I've removed these little in between floor things that just, I don't know, didn't look great. So anyway, thank you for attending my TED Talk on really granular Dark Souls 1 texture related issues and kind of glitches. So hopefully you enjoyed the fixing process, or at least what I ended up showing of it, because I think some of it is just brutally boring. But I know you guys like that. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you've downloaded 1.09 or if you will. And then, yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.